close the door to your mental state.
Yeah.
So God can pour in the new so you can really move on. And when you move on, you're going to be able to enjoy the fruit that he's giving you. It's hard to enjoy the fruit God has given you with that hurt and pain.
Let's take it back.
Yes. Hi, everybody.
Hey, y'all.
Welcome back to the best podcast around. How y'all doing today?
So, guys, I am very ecstatic because we just got some amazing news.
First of all, I asked them how they doing, not how you doing. I'm just like
I am the.
I got you.
So, anyways, I'm doing wonderful. I hope you guys are doing amazing. And I'm ecstatic because we just got some amazing news, you guys, when we were on our way here.
Drum roll, please. That was a poor drum roll.
Was it? Do that again.
Drum roll, please.
So, guys, we're on iHeartRadio. So I hope you guys are already subscribed to Apple and Google and Spreaker and Spotify. And also to our YouTube channel. But we found out today that we're finally on iHeartRadio. So we're super ecstatic.
Yes.
And literally the topic that we'll be discussing on today is totally in the same vein of like why we're here and how we even got here. So we're going to talk about today, a drum roll again.
Good.
We're talking about transitions and open doors and closed doors. So many of us are going through so many transitions, and literally our presence in iHeart has been a transition.
Yes.
So that's what we're talking about, just how we got here, how did we come about to even be able to record in this space that we're in, and not necessarily in the space, but just the opportunity to even do a podcast. So many transitions took place in the last 6 months that led us to this moment.
Yes, and we are grateful that we get to follow our dreams, even though this dream was not on the list. But we were able to follow our dreams, like going after the unfamiliar, not necessarily working a basic, 9 to 5, but really getting in a studio and being able to record and just speak about how you feel. Not everybody has the opportunity to really be able to freely speak about what goes on in their lives, and then have the heart to want to help other people with different things going on in their lives. So I thought that transitions, I like the way you put transitions. In the midst of a transition, I like the way she said that in open doors and closed doors and different things like that, because in order to make a transition, it is really the right thing to do to close a door first before you open the next one. So how y'all know, y'all been following us for a long time. What we like to do first is have our quote. And first of all, our quote is going to be coming from Alexander Graham Bell. That's the guy who makes the telephone guy, the inventor, the scientist who actually made the telephone. And I bet you any money, Mr. Bell did not know that a telephone was going to go into a mobile device that was going to charge people to go into the internet, which was literally going to turn into later on Wi-Fi. He did not know what he was doing. You feel what I'm saying?
Did you connect that right just now?
I think I missed the part. But it's okay because, like, Mr. Bell, we just want to shout you out because he probably not even living. He not. But we still want to shout him out because
they have a song called, they have this song that's in my mind. I can't even think of it right now. It's going to come to mind. But it's about the bell. I can't get the word.
You can ring my... Not that?
No, not that one. It's like a hip-hop song. I'm going to think about it. It's going to come to me.
What? How did she...
I literally see my aunts dancing.
Bell.
That's what I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
I literally see my aunts dancing to this, like, literally.
We probably have to play that before we leave out of here. I actually like that song. But no, we wanted to give a shout out to Mr. Bell because he didn't even know that a telephone was gonna be like one of those rolling little telephones, to a telephone that you actually pick up and put to your ear. Then a device where you're able to take it away without a cord, a cordless device. Then it turned into flat screen and all these different type of things. Like, technology has improved so much. Shout out to him because he's the head and not the tail. Okay. So anyway, the quote comes from Alexander Graham Bell, and it says, when one door closes, another opens. But we often look so long and so regretfully upon the closed door that we don't even see that one has opened for us. Now, that's deep. I'm going to have to read that again.
For the people in the back.
For the people in the back and the ones who's sitting up here on your front row, because sometimes they don't get it. No shade. No shade. But when one door closes, another opens. But we often look so long and so regretfully upon the closed door that we do not see the one which has opened for us.
That's a word.
Now, that's deep. Now, how I looked at it is, because literally that's my story right now. And I told Shaw today that I was going to get in here and I was going to be completely honest. They have a lot of closed doors, a lot of doors that I didn't close properly. Like, they closed, but I didn't close it properly. You know how you have a screen door and like you close it, like you're walking off and you slam it and like that thing swing back open, or have a little bitty crack in it and it kind of look closed, but it's not. That's kind of like the situation that I'm going through right now. But thank you, God, for grace, because he still has been moving, because he knows that the intentions of my heart have been pure.
Yeah.
And there was no malice or anything like that. It was just him moving, and I was trying to keep up with him. But I do know that God is a God of order, decency and order.
Yeah.
So I'm asking for forgiveness every day. But literally, I had, just thinking about this right here, I don't want to regretfully think about the door that was supposed to be closed, or, you know, I'm embracing the open doors that are around me, but I just want to really acknowledge the fact that, seriously, I had a dream on last night that an old pastor that I had, they saw me, him and his wife saw me in this building. It was like a huge building, and it had so many different rooms, and there was a lot of people that I was familiar with in the space. It was kind of like a retreat type of situation, maybe a conference. I don't know. It was huge. And they just so happened to see me, and I went up to them to talk to them, and they was just like, y'all doing so good on your podcast. Congratulations. You know, everything is doing so well. But as they were speaking to me, even in the dream, I couldn't even receive what they were saying to me, because of the guilt and shame that I felt from not properly closing the door. And when I say didn't properly close the door, I was a member of two churches here in New Orleans, Louisiana, on the praise team. And for a long time, I had just feeling like I was disconnected from the churches that I attended. I went from one and went to the other, and just ended up doing both of them back to back, one at 8 o'clock and one at 10:45. Every Sunday, right? Making it to the rehearsals, trying to keep everything in order despite how I felt. But it was like I knew the time was coming where I needed to really disassociate myself and walk away, because it was hindering my growth process.
Right.
One thing I could tell y'all, if y'all going to a service or y'all watching videos or whatever, and it's a cycle and they keep doing the same thing over and over, like the word just not touching you no more, or it's just not moving you how you need to be, it's not that they're not good leaders and teachers. It's because that you've got your portion and it's time for you to move on.
Yeah.
Right? So with me, I was feeling the guilt or shame, because I'm like, okay, I feel like I've got my portion, but I know my dedication to this church. I know the role that I play. I know that these people are going to need me. So I can't do this like this. So there was an opportunity that came about when I met this young lady. It was at another spiritual setting that I went into. I met this young lady, and she told me something about another church that was opening up, but she didn't tell me that it was going to be opening up soon. So once I heard about it, I met with her. We got to meet up with her, whatever like that, and told us really, really great things about this church. Well, actually, the church wasn't even built. It was more like leadership meetings that they were having. But in my mind, I was kind of confused a little bit about it, because I thought it was literally them having church at a restaurant every Sunday, but it was literally them building their leadership team. I had no idea, but I believe that God still wanted me to be present for some reason. I felt an urgency to be there. And by the way, that is a church that I am still at today. Shout out to Church 54. Shout out to them. It's safe. Shout out to Church 54.
Shout out to Church 54.
Yes, one of the best churches. We love you guys so much. Thank y'all for y'all continuous support. But back to the story. So I was just going to visit this church. I wanted to see what was the hype about. I wanted to know what was going on there. I heard so many great things about it from this person. And I kind of, for some reason, I trust the person's judgment at that moment. I believe that it was just God, really. So I went to go see what it was about. The first time we went, we had a really great, amazing encounter, right? Yeah. Shardae was there with me, guys. I don't know why she's being silent.
I'm letting you tell a story.
But I'm just saying, it was fire, though, right? We had a good time.
It was an experience with God. It was.
Literally, right?
Literally.
And we were first skeptical about it because we what? What is this at a restaurant? We didn't went to Baptist churches. Come on, talk about the Baptist blood. You feel what I'm saying? I'm just saying. We in a restaurant. What? The Holy Spirit ain't in there.
I'm not about to play with you. We will not know. Literally, it took. She's so crazy. So we went. And it was the Saints playoff game at the time in New Orleans. So it was $30 to park. And it was a lot of other obstacles we had to cross to get into that space. However, when we did arrive, in my sister's voice, we did feel the presence of God, and we knew that it was a God thing. And so, after visiting for quite some time, and then of course God always revealed when you're in his presence. So God revealed her spiritual gift of singing. If most of you haven't heard, she's singing on some of these podcasts, but you'll see sooner than later other moments of her singing. But over a period of time, God definitely revealed her gift of singing, and a door opened. Yeah. And a transition took place, not even looking for a transition per se, but just letting God order your steps. A transition took place.
Absolutely. A transition took place. And again, it was nothing that I was looking for. I didn't think that I was going to be leaving my church. I just went to go and visit. So after I visited for a while and wasn't attending the services nor singing with my praise teams, I just felt comfortable enough to not go back. Now, this is the part of the guilt and shame that I was feeling, because I was really close with both of my pastors. I loved both of them. Still to this day, love them so much. So it was literally hard for me to get in a place where I was even trying to accept anything from anybody else. But it was a complete God thing. I just knew God was telling me, this is where you belong. And it just so happened, Shardae was coming with me. It was her story a little different, but it's crazy how we both had to go through a transition at the same exact time. And by the way, we've been going through a lot of transitions at the same time. It's weird. But literally leaving your church, not one church, but two churches, leaving them to go and serve somewhere in a totally different area, totally different race, just totally different, right? And not saying that race is important, but it was just different, and it was a factor. So I'm God, what are you doing? So I didn't have an opportunity to go back to my church, and that's what I mean about the closed doors. I didn't close it properly. I didn't go back to my pastors, have a meeting with them, and let them know, look, I have enjoyed my time serving here as a praise team leader, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity, but God has opened another door somewhere else, and I have to go now. I didn't do that. I didn't report back to the church. I just went on ahead and joined another service and started being committed to that. And literally for days and weeks and months, I felt so much guilt. And I constantly kept praying about him, just help me deal with the guilt, help me deal with the shame. But it wasn't until I came to see one of my actual pastors face to face, and we didn't talk about that at all, but it was just the way that he greeted me and treated me that showed me that it was still love no matter what. And it made me feel a little more comfortable about it. But still to this day, as it's been months, I've been at Church 54 for about maybe, it's been like 3 months?
6?
6 months?
What are you smoking? It's been since January.
Since January?
Wait,
I've been at Church 54 for 6 months?
I'm done.
I've been at Church 54 for 6 months. But no, seriously, I've been away from my churches from 6 months. And still to this day, I want to go back and like apologize for the way I've done things because they just keep popping up places. You in my dreams, you just all around. And that just lets me know that there's an open door that needs to be closed or a cracked door that needs to be closed. And again, as I read the quote, I don't want to continue to be regretful about a door when the doors have already opened. God has already given me grace. I want to embrace these great things without having any guilt. Without thinking and feeling any shame. So it's important when you're going through things in life, even with relationships, things with family, you want to make sure you close those doors properly. Make sure they're sealed tight, especially with relationships. Like, you don't want to see one of your exes with their girlfriend or with their wives and you still feeling some type of way and it's been years. What are you doing? Like, close the door properly. There should not be any hurt and pain once you've truly moved on, and you should be no longer connected if you've closed the door properly. If you believe that God has separated you, period, or you believe that you're completely disconnected from this, then there's no way you should be feeling any emotional ties. That part. I'm just saying. I just wanted to put that out there because for so long I was feeling so like, I'm just airing on my business out there because for so long, like, my ex, I was engaged.
Well, come on and tell the people how you really feel.
I'm serious.
Tell them how you really feel.
I'm ready to close all these doors because I feel like a lot of the time people be walking around bitter, hurt.
We're not talking about people. We're talking about you.
Me too. And me. And me. And me. I'm walking around with bitterness, rejection, hurt, things like that I've dealt with. Brokenness. I said that already? Add that to the list.
Okay.
Come on. All that type of stuff, anger, frustration, loneliness, different things like that. I feel like not only just me, but there's so many people that I know because doors have not been closed properly. There was unfinished business. Oh, that's the title of this. Unfinished business. Got him. But anyway, I was engaged. And it's like, I knew for sure I was over this dude. I was about to say the N word, but I had to think about
listeners.
I had to think about the listeners. Like, seriously, I was, like, literally in a relationship, and it's like, I felt like everything was closed. Like, I felt like it was good. We ended on really bad terms, and I felt like it was okay because I knew it was the best thing to happen for me. But when he would appear, when I would see him different places, which I truly think, like, if you're completely done with somebody, I don't think you should see him anywhere, to be honest. I just don't think that. That's just me. I feel like maybe a spiritual thing for me, but I feel like when doors are all the way sealed tight, you're not going to be putting these people space, period. Especially if it was unhealthy for you. You're not going to see them no more. I just feel like that. So my situation was very unhealthy, and I started seeing him everywhere. And when I saw him, like, there was no reason, no feelings should have came up, but they still was coming up. I started thinking about the old times. I wouldn't even speak. I would hide behind things when I saw him, not acknowledging him and just looking, saying, wow, I remember this, I remember that. That's a sickness. And I know for sure that I needed to be healed and I needed that door to be closed properly. I didn't give it time to close. I gave it time to close, but I think I never lived in my full truth about it. So that's why the door wasn't completely closed. Because we know that the truth sets you free, right? Mm-hmm. All the time I was telling lies about I didn't care. I was over it. It was good, whatever like that. I had psyched myself up and told myself that. But in my own private and secret time, I'm still reminiscing. I'm just not telling nobody I'm reminiscing. So the truth showed up. When he showed up, I saw him, and I put myself in a very unstable emotional position, being that I was living in my lie, you know? So now I'm at a place where I feel like even if I was to see him out there and find out that he married and stuff like that, I will be completely okay. But I'm not singing at his wedding.
He ain't asking you to sing.
But I'm
his
just
way.
saying.
What is wrong with you?
What I'm
Everybody
saying-
asking their exes to sing their way. What is you doing?
What I'm saying
Anyways,
is I'm not going.
Anyways, he ain't inviting you though. She ain't giving a ticket to you. What
That's
is you
cool.
doing? You said a lot. All right, let me see what I want to say.
I'm just saying, I'm just tired of living in my lies, and if this gonna help you a little bit and help other people around the globe,
I think you need to tell people how you. I feel like you left it open. So how did you get from the place of secretly reminiscing to being in a place where you're good?
Literally, for me, I believe that I made a decision. I told God, I'm like, God, if you take something away and you knew how I felt about it, that means that you want to give me greater and better, right?
Yes, Lord.
So I had to come into a point where I'm like, okay, greater and better. If I want greater and better, I have to close the door of my thoughts, my emotional state. I have to just shut it all in. Shut it all behind this door and walk away from it. I came in agreement with his plan for my life and said, look, I know one day I want a husband for sure. And in order for me to have a husband, I can't be thinking about what the past dude did or how he did it, because I'm never going to be able to move on and love properly, period. So I got to a place where I decided that I want to love properly, and I want to be fair to the next man that's going to come, so he can have the complete version of me, and not the piece of me, not have to deal with the piece of me that's still loving on somebody else, right? I just wanted to, I'm at a place where I want to be able to give my better, my best. That makes sense?
That's a word. Give your better, your best. I like it.
So that's what God said, look, I got better for you. My better is going to get my best.
I think, and two,
it ain't easy, y'all. Seriously.
It's so many things that you said, but first I'll say, Romans 8 tells us that therefore there is no condemnation to those who love Christ, who are in Christ. And so even when we make mistakes and we don't close doors properly, when we leave things, unfinished business, even in the midst of that, the reason why it's hard for me to have this kind of conversation is because you don't always get a chance to have the conversation. Mm-hmm. And whether or not you get a chance to have the conversation, that cannot stop your growth or where it is that you're going to go next in your life. All you can do is really go to God and, repent, ask for forgiveness. And, if there's an opportunity where he'll let a conversation take place, then of course, by all means, do it. But in life, you don't always get to have the conversation to go make amends or make it right after the fact. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't like to have, it's not that I don't like to have these kinds of conversations. I don't like when people hinge their forward progression on the fact of a conversation have to be had.
Right.
If it is if God allow it, then great. But if he don't, then we still moving along. We're still growing. We're still going. We're still doing greater things. And you just have to get to a place where you give yourself grace and where you give yourself mercy, because God does it all the time. Mm-hmm. And so, we have to say, look, God, I messed up. Help my heart heal. Help me get out of that place of condemnation and guilt and shame and all of these other things that may come with, a decision that I made to kind of end things haphazardly. Because I'm sure we've all ended things at one point in time, whether it be a friendship or a relationship, family, church, whatever your transition was, work. Some people just left off the job, didn't say nothing, just whatever. Yeah. However you did it, there's grace and there's mercy for that. And, there's just grace and mercy for that. And so I know for a fact that you don't always have the conversations. And there's moments in my life where I wanted to go back and make some wrongs right with some people, and that's not an option. And I had to get to a place where I stopped beating myself up about it. And I'm like, I didn't mean to do it. That was no intentional malice or intentional. And even if that was intentional malice, right? If you intentionally did some real shade, they have people that's just done some real shady stuff to friends, to family members, and all these other type of things. So people that they're in a relationship with, if you just intentionally was shady, intentionally, mean-spirited, trying to hurt somebody, even there's grace for you too. There's grace for everybody. There's mercy for everybody if we go, and ask God for it. and just humble yourself, you know. But saying all of that to say, I truly commend you on sharing that truth, because we're talking about building essential sister truths, and part of building those truths is accepting your truth and acknowledging where you are and the mistakes that you've made at one point in time and another. So I thank you for sharing it, because it's hard to have those types of conversations about moments where you know you missed the mark, you know you may have hurt people in the process, or you've hurt yourself. And I think the biggest thing is not hurting yourself, like not internalizing the mistake to the extent that you can't operate the way you need to operate. And that's why most people are stuck. I messed up and I'm stuck and I can't move forward because I don't deserve, like, it was a period where I know I felt like I ain't gonna never get married because I didn't just cut up too much. And then when I say cut up, I'm not talking about like wilding out. I'm talking about in the sense of I've hurt too many people. And I know who I've hurt. I can see I just like, oh, I hurt this person, I hurt that person, I hurt that person, I hurt, like, what was you doing? But at the same time, it got to a point where I was just like, you know, I probably shouldn't just be in those serious committed situation because that may not be my story. But I didn't understand the whole commitment issues then. And I was younger. I was in my 20s, so it's different. It's different kinds of conversations.
She only 31, y'all.
Only. But I didn't know at the time. I didn't understand why I wasn't committing. Why I was just like, I'm just gonna leave this right here. But over a period of time, after you hurt people, and it wasn't intentionally, you just hurt people. And over that period of time, you know, a lot of condemnation came for a while, and I was just like, I don't think I'm going to be able to do this because I don't even want to bring somebody else in, allow somebody else to come into my mix, and then I hurt them too. It got to a point where I just didn't even want to date because I'm like, if every time I'm dating, and then if you dating the certain type of people that I date, they're looking for wives. I never understood. I'm like, why everybody I'm dating want a wife? Like, what? We just can't just. Can I get to know you? Like,
that's sad.
That's too much. But literally, you know, I have to meet mothers and family, and then it's like months go down the line, and we talking about wedding. It's just like this too deep, too soon. I'm too young. I'm not ready. And it was too many conversations that were happening like that. So I'm like, okay, I need to revamp and get back to me to see what's going on and why I'm not committing properly. But in the way I handled it was just disappearing, like literally just disappearing. And that wasn't the proper way to do that. And there were people, that wasn't the proper way to close the door. And so I'm saying that to say some people in the process have since then gotten married, which is totally awesome, totally cool. I've dated some really great men, like awesome men. For the most, I like literally like I don't have that story of, a lot of women have that story of I dated these horrible people and they used me, abused me, you know, just these horrible stories.
Amen.
And I just don't have that story. By the grace of God, I can honestly say the guys that I've dated were truly, you know, amazing guys. Like, they were just amazing. Literally 98%. And so, unfortunately, I didn't close the doors properly. Because I didn't close the doors properly, it do leave a lot of guilt. And so, you know, if you see people in certain places, it just randomly, you just be like, oh, Lord, you know, you walk all the way around a event just so you don't even come in contact because you feel bad. Stuff like that. And even after you see the person sometimes needs to get stuff off their chest. And I've had to sit and have hard I literally just had a conversation with one of my exes like a few weeks ago, randomly haven't seen this person in years. And he has so much on his chest that he wanted to get off. And I was just like, I got to sit through this. And I did sit through it. You know, he shared some things, shared his heart. That stuff been on his heart for years. And I was just like, wow, you know, I'm sorry. Sorry really not enough, to be honest. It's not enough. But in the process of doing so, I know it closed a major door for him. And so I didn't even remember this is the issue when you hurt people. A lot of times you don't even remember what happened or the depth of what you've done to cause hurt or pain. And people walking around having the image, the scene vividly in their minds of the moment, the day, and the time. And I'm just like, whoa. So just moments like that where, I had to really come back and really ask God to give me a different type of heart to be able to love, to be able to move on with me in that particular type of situation. And since then, he's done a whole, situation. And so now is different. And now I'm in a different situation, a different space with it.
She being real candy cane, y'all, but I commend you from saying what you're saying. I didn't even think you was going to say nothing, but I like how you put and said that, it's the guilt and shame that caused you to want to hide at events and stuff like that from your exes and stuff. That's what it was like for me in Walmart. Like when I saw my ex, this is the person that I went the farthest with in my life, like as, you know what I'm saying, period. And I hid from him and couldn't even say hello because of the guilt and shame that I had from the way that I treated him. You feel what I'm saying? And then you look at those things, and just like you said, you thought in your mind, like, I'm never going to be a wife because I hurt this man so much. God presented the opportunity for me to go into that next realm, and it did not happen because of, immaturity and stuff. But
let me be clear. The reason why none of those situations happened had nothing to do with it. Was not in God's will. Period.
I'm talking about for me. Now, I feel like, no, I'm serious. I just feel like I've just got into a place where I ruined a lot of stuff. Like, I could easily say, oh, it wasn't in God's will, but how do I know what God's will was if I was the one doing the damage?
I think for sure I have asked God, and I believe you've asked him too. And I think I know for a fact that so let me back up. All of the incidents that we're discussing were not happening where we are with God right now.
Right.
So that's how I know it wasn't in God's will. Because at the time, the woman of God that I am today, she had not fully arrived. So being who I am today, looking at what I was not, this is no shade, no nothing to nobody. Because like I said, all of the men that I've dated were great men, right? They're awesome men. However, sitting where I am today, knowing who I am today, that is not, they're not, literally not one person I can see myself walking in the purpose that God has for my life. So that's why I'm saying, I know for a fact, I know for a fact, like I have no doubt in my mind that people from my past is not is not who God has for my future.
Amen. I totally believe that too. Now that you put it that way, like I don't even know why I'm. How you looking at me? I don't think. No,
we talking about walking with God in purpose, and you talking about building. You aiming real low.
I'm good. Like I'm not saying I'll take anybody from my past with me. It was just something to sit on because I've thought about my behavior. So now I'm thinking about the way that I am now, and I do believe that every person that I encountered in my past would not be able to sit here with me. And talking about closed doors and sitting here with me at iHeart Radio right now, I don't think that any of them literally would have been able to sit here. But let's get back into the transitional closed doors type of situation. Although in the beginning I talked about, having the situation with my churches and different things like that and different things with the relationship and closing the door. If I wouldn't have walked away, because like you said, God, sometimes you don't get the opportunity to speak those things, to verbalize those things, and to say certain things, and you still got to move on. If I would have continued to sit fully in the guilt and shame and not allow my feet to start moving and to really trust God, I wouldn't be at this point where I am today, mentally, spiritually, physically, none of it. I would have been sleeping in my grave. But no, seriously, I think sometimes you have to just keep on moving. Like, you just got to keep moving. Like, although people have been hurt, you took it to God in prayer and said, look, God, look, I'm sorry. I did this, and that. Please don't let this hinder where I need to go. Please don't even let this be a stumbling block for me. Yeah. Just continue to open up the next door and allow, not only open up the next door, but allow me to be able to embrace it and really appreciate it and walk in a grateful heart to be able to walk through these doors without feeling wrong or guilty about things that I've done.
And sometimes God, like, literally, there'll be moments where you would want to have so the only way sometimes, like, people don't like the way things go down and people don't like the way things happen, but God knows his children. And so there are moments when I look over my life, like as we're talking about the transitioning, if he would have said, get up and walk away from these two situations, these two churches, or from that relationship or whatever the situation may be, or from that friendship or from, your family, whatever, we don't always have the strength to walk away. And so he allowed things to be set up a certain kind of way to low-key get you out of the space to get you where you need to go. Yeah. And so, and I can honestly say that was a situation that I just didn't have the strength to get out of. I was like, God, if you don't take them, I don't know what's going to happen, because I don't want to let it go. Wow. That, with not just with, and that's what multiple things in my life, I know if God wouldn't have allowed certain negative things and bad things to happen, I wouldn't have been, even when those things did happen, I still didn't walk away when I should. When you're about to transition, you usually know that a transition is coming. We don't want to come in agreement or fully accept it. Mm-hmm. And then so sometimes God literally pushes us out of a space into another space. And so we have to be mindful when that's happening. People are like, well, it just, I'm like, when I look back and I'm thinking about where I am right now, even when it comes to my new church home, I'm like, because I'm thinking about the moments where I've said literally, God has literally, like, I'll be in random conversation and be like, oh, I'm not going to be here forever. Like, just randomly saying it, not knowing the day, time, or the hour, but just, it was always on my mouth, just always just in my conversation. I'm like, oh, I'm not going to be here forever. I'm just, I'm just here for a season. And I know the season is going to be up. I ain't know when, but it happened very haphazardly and abruptly and all of those types of things. But I know it was still in his plan. And so sometimes when things happen a certain kind of way, we like, well, that wasn't God or God. And it's like, no, God was all in it. Because if he had given me a choice, I wouldn't have freely walked away like I should have, or like he may have wanted me to. And even in a past situation that I was in, I remember specifically praying a certain prayer for God to remove somebody from my life because I just didn't have the strength to walk away. And I was like, this is not good for me. This is not healthy for me. This is not serving a woman of God and a purpose and a plan you have for my life. And yet I know all of these things and still I cannot walk away. So I need you to literally get it out of my way, get me out the way, move me, shift me, do whatever needs to be done. But I know that this is detrimental to who I am and what I'm supposed to be and who I'm supposed to be. And because it's detrimental, I need you to move it. And literally, it wasn't even, my birthday came and that was a wrap. And God had moved it. So, it's in its moment. Now, that would be considered to a lot of people unfinished business, how it happened. But it wasn't unfinished business. It was, that had to happen the way that needed to happen because of the type of hold. And sometimes we're connected to people and connected to things and places and situations based off time, based off emotional and soul ties and all this other stuff. And it's like, no, this wasn't unfinished business. This was God answering a prayer, because I told God I was tired of being in this space with this individual and I wanted out. I was like, I want out, and I want out ASAP. I don't know how I'm gonna get out. I don't know how you about to get me out of this, but I want out, and I got out. And so, and you gotta just ask yourself, even when you make the transition, what have you been talking to God about before the transition? Because if you saying, God, I'm ready to transition, I'm ready to go on to something bigger and better, enlarge my territory, what you think you're going to do?
And this don't just go from, we're not even just talking about relationships or closing the door. We're saying close the door on any situation that you're struggling with right now. It could be a drug addiction. It could be addiction, period. You know what I'm saying? It could be you not closing the door to the hurt and pain that you felt years ago from being released from a girl group. It could be anything. That was buku random.
Super.
I know, but I'm just saying it could be anything. It could be church hurt that you feel, and that you feel like, oh, you know, I feel like I served in this ministry and I did this and I did that, and the people that you allowed to come in hurt you really, really bad. It's time to get over it. Like, close the door to your mental state, so God can pour in the new, so you can really move on. And when you move on, you're going to be able to enjoy the fruit that he's giving you. It's hard to enjoy the fruit God has given you with that hurt and pain, because to be honest, it's a sign of ungratefulness, really. You should be, and I had to tell myself that too. I'm like, all these great things going on, and I'm in the midst of complaining about this. I'm like, why I gotta move and do this? Because it's been so many transitions, y'all. Let me just be completely honest with y'all. I thought about me having to make a transition from moving from one space to the next, right? This is coming up really, really soon. So I'm like, why do I have to move to go into this place and to go into another place that may be harmful for me as well, right? And I'm thinking about that. And as I looked at it, I'm like, I'm so ungrateful to even think like that, because there's so many other things that God is catching my attention with that I really need to be focused on, and not the negatives. And it kind of brought me back. That's even why I kind of brought up the relationship thing again, because I remember my last relationship being a transition where I had to leave a house, literally lose everything that I had to just walk out into the next door. Yeah. And I'm thinking about, if I wouldn't have made those steps, if I wouldn't have chucked it up and been like, look, because at this point, it wasn't even a God, I trust you thing. It was just like, I know that's not healthy for me. And I gotta go. Yeah. Like, I can't even say God was really involved. Well, I wasn't seeking him at the time, that moment, to be like, what should I do? It was more like you know this not good. You know what's not good for you. You know it. You know what's not feeding you well. You know if somebody putting their hands on you, abusing you, making you, around your kids. You know if somebody burdening you financially, taking from you, stealing from you. You know, like you just know what's not good for you. You know your friends that talk about you behind your back. You know the ones that drag for you. You know the ones who sit in your face and smile with you and not really for you. You know what's up. So this is just to bring awareness. It's time to close the door. And I'm speaking to myself as well. Close the door. It's time for the door to be closed so I can embrace. I'm speaking for Errineisha. I can embrace the new things that God is about to birth in my life, and even the things to embrace the things that he already has. Why am I sitting around worrying about what happened to me, or what could happen to me, or who hurt me, different things like this? I need to be embracing what's going on. Literally. That's not even important. Like,
because the next
is hard though.
So much bigger than the now. And the quote talked about, like, the next door is like already open. And you can't even see it because you're so busy worried about the doors that were closed. Literally, when I'm thinking about every door that's closed in my life, even with the situation I talked about, with having to pray and ask God to remove it because it was so unhealthy for me. Literally, when that closed, my birthday was like a few weeks later. When I tell you, like, it was like my life had just started. It was so weird. It was like my life literally just started. And I'm sitting here like, what in the... It was like literally being in that unhealthy situation was blocking everything that God... Literally, it was like one prayer. I promise you, it was one prayer. And then it was like the floodgates of heaven just opened up. Wow. And it was just like everything I could have ever dreamed and wanted started manifesting before my eyes. And it was surreal to see it, because you would hope that certain people would be there to help you enjoy it, but it was those very situations and people and relationships that was actually holding it up. Wow. So If God is telling you to walk away, because I promise you on the other side, I can't even the blessings that God has allowed me to experience is not the norm. It's literally not the norm. And when I look over the people that I, look back and look at the people I grew up with and situations and people that I just was around, most of my life and stuff like that, my life is different. Yeah. It's just different. The fruit of the decision is obvious. The fruit of really just saying, and it wasn't a deep conversation with God. I was just like, look, this is gonna probably kill me if I stay in it. So if you love me, come get me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you love me, come get me, because I can't take it. And it's gonna probably literally kill me any day now. So please, Lifeline, send one, And he did.
I'm weak.
I'm so serious.
Tell them, no, seriously, y'all, and it's like that about jobs, too. Like, some of y'all are on y'all jobs right now. Y'all staying there because y'all one check away from y'all light bill. Y'all one check away from y'all rent being paid. And y'all like, I can't leave this job because this is what I know is consistent. This is what I know is paying my bills. And God been telling you to dip. Like, he been telling you to dip. Literally. You're not dipping because you don't feel secure enough in him to dip off. But I'm about to tell you right now, I had been debating on how I was going to quit this job that I felt like was sucking the life out of me on a whole nother level. And I felt like God was I was like, look, give me a release date. I need a release date. That's all I need. Just give me that. Just let me take that. He gave me a release date. I still ain't want to accept it because I'm like, look, I don't have no other job. Like, I need some money. I'm not playing. Like, I need that. And when he dropped that date, and then when they started sending me different offers and telling me about more increase that I would gain from staying on the job, and I'm like, okay, I think I'm going to just hold it out a little bit more. And God was like, nah, no thank you. And when he said no thank you, and I still was trying to stay, all HE double hockey sticks broke out in the place where I was working. And I was like, all right, God, I got you. I'm about to head out. You want me to give him a 2 or not? When he said give him the 2 weeks notice, I was like, okay. The moment I had been waiting for somebody to call me about an opportunity to be on a TV show for a minute, probably since probably the beginning of it was a while, probably months. And we just couldn't get in contact, like the phone line, we just couldn't get in contact. Literally, the last day of work after putting in my 2-week notice, I got in the car, we pulled off, my phone started to ring. Straight like that. After not being able to contact me.
Like that, huh?
It did. As soon as I walked off, and it opened the door to, just that one opportunity opened the door to so many ones.
Wait, just say important call.
No, stop playing. No, but seriously, when he called me right after I left that job, I was like, all right. And right after that, every form of opportunity that I wanted with media or TV, whatever, everything just started to unfold. And it started kind of here, because I remember I came here and met, literally I met DK here. Came here, got a tour of the place, and was like, wait. Didn't even know, you know what I'm saying, how it was going to work out. And look how God did it. Secretly, Shardae had a little media inside of her life, too. She wanted to be on TV. She never told nobody. But secretly, that was a desire of her heart. But let's give God some glory right now for knowing the depths of our heart, even when we don't speak it out loud, even when we don't even know it's a step that we really want to take. And he just so happened to give her a silent desire of her heart and allow her to work with the best in business. And that's me. Like, I'm just being real. Like, who else did it? He is who he is. So I'm just good, y'all. I'm grateful. My cousin working with me. We working together. We building. We fighting too. We doing all kind of stuff.
The most.
I'm saying. But it's been such a pleasure. It's so much fun.
It's been good.
And I'm so grateful to even sit right here. We have a lot of moments like this. But I'm happy to sit right here with you. And I'm so grateful that we both made a decision to close those doors so we'll be able to walk into this next door opportunity together.
We had to close the door on our pettiness to even be here, to be honest. We had to close the door on that. So we
might do another episode about residue.
Yeah.
I still got some left over.
The truth, out of the heart. But no, honestly, y'all, whatever unfinished business you have, close those doors. And if you don't get a chance to do it, it's okay. If that opportunity isn't, and I'm saying it's okay. For example, like one of my exes reached out to me, and he's married, and
whoa,
I'm not
here for
that. And I literally was just on some, you could just send me an email. Email me. Listen. Because whatever it is that he needs to say it. But
you need a copy for
but
his
we
wife.
don't need to have a conversation because of that. Like this is why I'm saying even if I wanted to have a conversation with him, which I really don't need none. But even if I wanted to, because he's married, there would be no need to. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And so it's like
you will never probably be able to address certain conversations.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like certain conversations, we're not talking about anything after because you already have you already in a permanent situation. Yeah. There's no need for you to share anything like that with me with something already in place like that. And so that's boundaries that I just wouldn't cross, even if that person would. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's really on some send me an email and get it off your chest. You know what I'm saying? And that you literally can write a letter to whoever you just have that conversation with, go burn it and go put the ashes in the river or in the ocean. That's another way to get rid of whatever you need to get rid of, or share whatever is on your heart if you feel like there's no closure there. You can write it out, you can talk it out, you can record it and scream it out. However you want to get. I would say write it out, burn it, go throw it in a river, go throw it in the ocean, and be done. But every opportunity won't give you a face-to-face conversation, and that part is okay.
Exactly, and I appreciate you going there. Some people do need to burn some things, y'all.
Just have a conversation with it. Just pen and paper. It's therapy. It's therapeutic.
Some of y'all ain't have a writing session in a while, ain't journal in a while. I'm serious. Get y'all some pen and paper.
Yeah,
and get y'all to write what you don't need to be texting and writing nobody's husband. Okay.
At all.
Get you some pen and paper, write it down.
Don't write nobody wife.
And don't write nobody wife. Come on, somebody. Don't write nobody wife.
I'm not about
My bad, I got mad. But I'm just saying, so write it down, make it plain, and then burn it up so you won't go insane. Hallelujah.
That's cute.
But we just think just wanted to let y'all know that we love y'all. And just to let y'all know, y'all not in it by yourselves either. They have some stuff some people walking around wondering why they hurting. Some people wondering why they get sick to their stomach when they get around certain people. It's some unfinished business. Some unfinished business. Don't worry about it. Every time you go around a person, you get mad, you get irritated. Some unfinished business. And I'm just talking about my own life right now. Because I know specifically certain things and in certain spaces with certain people, I still get irritated and aggravated, and it's because there's some unfinished business. And I don't think it's going to ever be to a point where I'll be able to very much so verbalize it, because it was a wound that was placed inside of me that I didn't even know how deep it was. So God is just going to continue to do the healing, because I'm embracing the healing. I want the healing. I desire to be healed. I don't need to be walking around wounded and looking crazy and splatting out, going crazy on everybody else because of my internal pain. Some of y'all around here acting crazy. Chill out. Get you some healing. Go and see a therapist. And keep listening to the best podcast. Well, there is some healing for you and you and you and you.
We love y'all.
We love y'all. We are building us
to empower us.
Let's take it back.
So, guys, we want to thank you again for listening to the best podcast. So we are building essential sister truths. We are your hosts,
Errineisha Taylor
and Shardae Womack. We want you to follow us, subscribe, post, and share.
And guys, continue to love on us. You can find us on Facebook at Building Essential Sister Truths, and on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, Best Network Live. We love you guys.
And we're building